Alright, we ready?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh!
Woof.
Is that him?
I think. Why did they make him up like Michael Jackson?
Yeah, that's him. Whatever it was that made him Todd is definitely gone.
Shh. Please. You'll wake the dead.
Why does hand do that?
Chemicals in the vascular flesh create cadaveric spasms.
Look, I'm his friend, and
I know who you are.
What are all those tiny marks?
Cuticle lacerations from pulling at the wire.
pulling at the wire. If he was pulling at the wire, he wasn't trying to kill himself. It was an accident.
In death, there are no accidents, no coincidences, no mishaps, and no escapes. What you have to realize is that we're all just a mouse that a cat has by the tail. Every single move we make, from the mundane to the monumental, the red light that we stop at or run, the people we have sex with or won't with us, the airplanes that we ride or walk out of. It's all part of death's sadistic design, leading to the grave.
Design. Does that mean if you figure out the design, you can cheat death?
Alex, you've already done that by walking off the plane. Your friend's departure shows that death has a new design for all of you. Now you have to figure out how and when it's coming back at you. Play your hunch, Alex, if you think you can get away with it. But remember, the risk of cheating the plan, of disrespecting the design, could incite a fury that could terrorize even the Grim Reaper. And you don't even want to fuck with that, Mac Daddy.
Okay then. Well, yeah. I'm sorry we broke in and.
No harm, no foul. I'll see you soon.
You're tuned in to the Wolf's Den podcast, and welcome back to a very special episode of Late to the Murder Party. Now, today I don't have my regular co-hosts with me. There's no Xeiren, there's no Doc, Grave, no Roy, and God forbid we have Varren. No, today we have somebody else that you might have seen if you watched some of my, God, what would you call those videos?
Slogfest?
Yeah, torture sessions.
Slobberknockers?
Yeah. Listening to fucking, the McGruff video, cassettes, stuff like that. Yeah, so whenever we've had our riffing sessions is when I've had my friend Kaz with me, aka CasualUndead.
Yep.
And I decided to ask him if he wanted in on an actual episode or two of the podcast, and he said yes.
I'm up for new things.
Yeah. So, naturally, since I've decided to change a bit of the format, expand upon the format of Late to the Murder Party, by covering stuff that I have actually seen, but others might not have. Today, we are going to discuss one of my favorite horror franchises. It's nice, it's compact into just 5 separate little movies. We are talking about Final Destination.
Or, as I like to put it, be afraid of everything the movie series.
Pretty much. Or, I fucking knew it, Tony Todd is death.
Well, be fair. How could you not?
True. So,
The man...
yeah.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, it's like, the man emanates just fucking, like, slasher energy, even when he's not in a horror movie.
Oh, yeah, no, it's like seeing... It's like seeing Robert Englund or even, like, Tobin Bell outside of a horror film.
Yeah,
It
best way I
feels
can describe it
wrong.
to non-horror fans is, imagine having watched, like, Doctor Strange or Sherlock and not seeing Benedict Cumberbatch be the methodical type.
Yeah.
It's like
I've seen horror films where Tony Todd is the victim, and it just feels wrong.
arguably Candyman's a bit of a victim.
True, but he's also an antagonist.
True.
He is the killer in those films, and that's the perfect role. But like you see him in the original Wishmaster, he's a victim.
Yep.
And it's fucking bizarre.
I still stand by what was it, Horror who said I still want to see Candyman versus Wishmaster.
Oh, don't we all? So, moving on to this... Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Alright. So, moving on to this proper, we're gonna discuss our individual thoughts of the movies and then talk about it in whole. And I'm going to reveal stuff that maybe some of you out there don't know. Like, facts about the films, stuff about certain deleted scenes. I'm going to reveal some stuff about actors that you might not have realized that actually did some shit. I don't mean, like, bad shit, but I mean, like, actually went on to do other things before and after. And I'm also going to talk about the humble beginnings of this franchise.
I should also say that if anyone who is completely new to the horror and this podcast specifically, we should state that most often than not, horror movies are the starting careers for most A-list actors. Most notable being possibly Friday the 13th franchise, which jump-started Crispin Glover, Gary Coleman.
Kevin Bacon?
Not Gary Coleman. Corey Phelps.
Corey Feldman.
Corey Feldman.
Kevin Bacon.
Yeah. It's... Well, I think part of that is because horror is kind of seen as, like, B-movies, like, non-legitimate.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a start. They're fun movies.
Yeah.
But anyway.
For those of you out there who didn't listen to the first episode I did covering Nightmare on Elm Street and don't know who about any of these people we're talking about, okay, I'll throw out a name for you there. Nightmare on Elm Street was the starting point for Johnny Depp's film career.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he was dragged into the Pirates of the Caribbean world after it because he got sucked into the bed. For one nightmare into another.
Yes.
Actually, fun fact, Johnny Depp is actually terrified of people in makeup.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's
beautiful irony.
I have bad dreams about people in makeup.
And then I wake up and it's there. But anyway.
Oh god. So let's start with the humble beginnings of this. Final Destination. a lot of you, I'm sure, have heard of the franchise. You know, this is just a horror film series about people surviving an accident and then dying in a bunch of accidents later on.
Right.
That's the dumbed down version.
Yeah, it's one of those types of film series where people just kind of write it off as, what's the term? Teen horror bait.
Teen horror bait, murder porn. I think some people would consider it that, even though technically nobody is actually murdered. Well, until you get to the fifth one, but that's a different story. We'll get to that.
Yeah, it's more like death is bored.
Exactly. But what a lot of people may not know is who is attached to this? Who created this? You have James Wan, or Wong,
yep.
I think, yeah, James Wong, and a couple other people whose names escape me at the moment. Forgive me for that.
I believe the main writer is like Jerry Redder or something.
I think so. Here's the thing you need to know about these people. They came off of the X-Files.
Yep.
And so did this script.
Albeit highly edited.
Highly edited. This started off as a script for an episode that was going to be titled Flight 180. So they already knew they were going to have the 180.
Keep that number in mind, folks. You'll see his recurring theme.
Yeah. This started off as that. Originally, the main, the person who had the premonition was Scully's brother, character who a lot of people, you tend to forget that he existed because he was only in like a handful of the very early episodes.
And because they didn't want to pay the actor.
Well, it's more that they wrote him, and I think he appeared twice. Then they rewrote. Then it's believed that he was actually rewritten to be a sister later, because they just decided the brother just didn't quite work.
Well,
I believe this would have been his second appearance.
Well, it's either that or possible sex appeal.
Yeah, and they decided, no, Scully needs a sister. Let's do that.
Makes sense to me.
And let's forget about the brother. It's like, okay.
Let's forget about the time Scully got pregnant by aliens.
They won't. Actually, they've refused to forget that. That's a drawing point of that series.
I still can't get over how Scully, throughout the entire series, refuses to believe anything, despite the fact that you got knocked up by aliens.
Yeah, there's a point where you have to stop being a skeptic.
Like, you didn't just cause osmosis in your own uterus, Scully.
Yeah, no. But, yeah, we'll X-Files itself is another discussion. That's later down the road. That's a whole nother episode.
A very long discussion.
Yeah. But back to this script. Yeah, her brother was to have the premonition. He was supposed to have brought off a handful of people, and then one of them mysteriously dies a few weeks later, and Mulder and Scully are sent to investigate. And that's when it's actually revealed, like, it was actually hidden from her that her brother had been through this. That her brother was a part of this. Though she knew her brother had been through that, but she didn't know that he was still connected to this. So there's all of that. Everything starts to unravel. But here's where we get to the twist. This episode was going to actually it was going to make death an actual entity within the universe that the X-Files takes place in.
A la Discworld and Sandman.
Yeah. Yeah, we were going to establish death as an actual, like force / entity. That actually, apparently, every time this type of shit happens, he comes along, or it comes along, takes possession of someone, and has them proceed to hunt down and kill all of the survivors in ways that look like accidents.
That kind of, that kind of gives me an idea for like a story idea where it's like, if you were able to survive something that you weren't supposed to, what if that's the cause for most serial killers and psychopaths?
That would be an interesting concept, actually.
It's just death taking over the person trying to kill you.
Yeah, it's like, wait, no, we need to correct this. Wait, why are you running?
Yeah, that's a running theme throughout the entire series, is we need to keep the status quo, or, oh wait, no, I gotta check off my list.
Yeah.
It's like Santa Claus, but with more death.
Yeah, exactly. What I did like about this idea, though, was that after that's accomplished, they realize after that happens, like, let me spoil the ending of this script, because you can actually you can find the Bloody Disgusting article where they actually revealed all of this, and also printed a link to the actual script. It's a PDF online that you can get a hold of.
Right. Should we do a small pause so people can...
Oh, they can find it. You find it afterwards. It's all good.
No, I mean, like, to do, like, a spoiler noise.
Oh, yeah. Spoiler. You can pause here, and then we'll read the script, and then come back.
And we'll say when you can come back.
Yeah. We'll say when we're done with that spoiler. So, for those of you who have stuck around, this ending to the script is really, really good.
Exceptionally fucked up, but good.
Oh, yeah. So what happens is a bunch of these people die. And finally, Mulder and Scully connect the dots, figure out it's this officer that has been causing them so much problems with, like, trying to solve this. They figure out it's him doing it. But something is still not right about it, but they know it's him. And he manages to kidnap the last two survivors. They also make the connection that anyone who has the premonitions, they were supposed to. They discover that having a premonition is death's warning to you, saying, hey, if you stay here, you're gonna die before your time.
It's, to make a dark joke, it's equivalent to that dark joke of, I like you, don't come to school today.
Yeah, that fucked up, yeah. So, he was meant to survive, everything's cool. However, anyone who followed him off,
they gotta go.
This needs to be corrected. So he's hunting them down, and yeah, he gets the last two, kidnaps them, and throws them in the back of the squad car. And he's going to go murder them. I believe they realized, I think he was going to, like, shoot them and throw them off a bridge, or he was going to, like, drive the car off of a bridge or something. I don't know. But Mulder and Scully managed to stop him, like, by shooting up the car and shit like that. He gets out, and they're asking, because they haven't figured out who he is. And they keep asking, who are you? What the hell do you want? And they keep shooting him. They shoot him a couple of times, and he just keeps moving and smiling. He doesn't change his reaction at all.
Like a Terminator.
Yeah. Like, they realize, he's like, oh, well, okay, I'm gonna kill them now anyway. So he goes and pulls out his gun, and they're shooting him as he's, like, about to pull the trigger on them. And then finally, I can't remember exactly how it happens. I'd have to reread the script. But they manage to, like, stop him, kinda.
Momentarily.
Momentarily.
They get his attention.
Yeah. And so Mulder is the one to ask the correct question. What are you? And he just looks at Mulder and kind of chuckles. He smiles and looks at both him, Mulder, and Scully and says, "Oh, you know who I am. You know what I am. In fact, I've come close to collecting you many times over your life." Mulder's the one to really quickly connect the dots and realize this is a personification of death itself.
Yeah.
And then he pulls out his... He the whole time he had like a lit cigarette in his mouth. He had cigarettes. He was ready. Pulls it out, and the car had been leaking fuel. He lights it up, blowing up himself and the car with the survivors.
Yep.
And it gets wrapped up. They visit her brother one last time before they leave. Everything's fine with him. They talk and whatever. And they just do their little wrap-up at the end. There is a connection with the smoking man in this episode, but I'm not going to go into it.
Now, why this script was rejected, I don't personally know, but it's not like the X-Files haven't done personifications or flat-out gods in the show.
From what I know, it got read over, and what it was a way for the other one, like one of them, the one who wrote it, to get his foot in the door.
So to speak.
Yeah, it was to get his foot in the door and to actually do some episodes. But they decided instead that, I think they pushed this off to the wayside, and then decided that it needed to be fleshed out and deserved to be its own thing. And I'm of two minds. While I think this would have made an interesting episode of The X-Files, I am perfectly happy with the fact that this created my favorite franchise.
Yeah. Also, fun fact, if you've never seen The X-Files, because I found out about this recently, God does show up in that show, I believe a couple times, and it's played by Burt Reynolds.
Yep. Yeah, the episode that features him ends with a pull-up of the city, like a pull-up, a show of a sign of above the city in all the buildings, and as it pulls up, they form Burt Reynolds' smiling face. All the buildings, the roads, the lights, everything, they form a smiling face of Burt Reynolds.
Of course.
Okay.
I personally love the idea and the concept of God just walking around being a cool dude bro with sunglasses giving the finger guns.
Yeah, I think he was like, I think in the episode he was just like hanging around somebody in Vegas, like trying to get them onto their right track, I guess. It was
Also,
weird.
Also, good symbolism. God and dead sinners.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, the X-Files, that is a whole nother discussion. But yeah, that is the humble beginnings. And for those of you who decided to leave, you may come back now.
Spoilers are over.
Spoilers are over. Now
For
we
the
talk
X-Files, at least.
for the X-Files. Now we talk the franchise that is Final Destination.
I got this feeling. It's a weird feeling.
The cabin starts to shake, right? And the left side blows up, and then the whole plane just explodes. The plane's gonna explode! It's not a joke! It's not a joke!
We get thrown off the plane all because Brownie has a bad dream?
I saw it.
The plane! It's gonna blow up! It's gonna blow up!
All 287 passengers are feared dead.
Because of you, I'm still alive.
In death, There are no accidents. No coincidences. And no escapes.
Did it happen again? Did you see Todd die?
What if it was our time? What if we were not meant to get off that plane? What if there is a design, then it's not finished?
By walking off the plane, you're cheating death. You have to figure out when it's coming back at you.
What are you, God now?
He knows which one of us is next.
You have a responsibility to tell me.
I knew I should have hit on Tammy in the pool that time.
I'm not gonna let it happen, okay?
Nobody has control over life and death unless they are taking lives and causing death. Now, can you promise me that no one else is going to die?
I'll see you soon.
So, Final Destination was actually one of the first horror films I actually sat down and watched as a kid.
Same, actually. I think I saw something earlier, but it's the one that I remember the second one being like the first that I remember.
Yeah, I happened to catch the first one. I think it was on Fox, of all things. Well, actually makes sense. Done by the same people who made the X-Files. So I caught it. Yeah, it was edited, but it was still violent.
Well, as violent as TV can make it.
Yeah, keep in mind of like the episode that the X-Files had done about the hillbilly family that not even hillbilly, but the basically X-Files meets Hills Have Eyes. That was a violent episode, and it was the first one to get a TVMA. Oh yeah, I'll have to show you that episode, and we'll have to I'll bring you on if you're interested for the discussion on the X-Files.
I still need to watch the X-Files. I think I've seen like 4 episodes.
Oh, I have such sights to show you. There's some good episodes. But that aside, yeah, this was the first one I really sat down. Apparently, I think my dad knew what this movie was. Might have been my mom. They might have both known. And when the movie came on, there was like the questioning of like, because I heard about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I am kind of interested in horror films. And so there's the question of like whether or not I should be allowed to sit down and watch it. Well, because it was on TV.
To be fair, Final Destination, if viewed in a proper light, can just be a PSA for safety.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, you ever see those Canadian PSAs?
Oh, those horrifying things that belong in a fucking Final Destination movie.
Yeah, pretty much. It's effective, at least.
Oh, yeah.
But go ahead.
But, yeah, so, because, let's see. The movie came out in 2000, I believe.
Yeah, it's 2000, 2001, and when the movie starts, it's painfully obvious how 2000s it is.
Yeah, it's so painfully obvious that it's 2000s that you can tell it's also it's late 90s.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell when shooting probably started on this.
Like, not even just from the video quality, but also, well, obviously because of video quality, but also, like, how certain shots are done.
Yeah. Yeah, it's... Yeah.
Like, the best way I can describe how a lot of shots are is, like, early Supernatural.
Yes. And it also helps that, like, one of the actors in it who played the character Carter Warden, he came off of Dawson's Creek. You can kind of tell, like a lot of people even called Final Destination the Dawson's Creek of the horror franchise, of the horror genre. I can get it. I can totally get that.
I can get it, but at the same time, we already have Dawson Creeks of Horror, anything by David Dakota.
Yeah, true. So, yeah, I was decided I could watch it, and so I sat down and watched this, and I was blown away by what I was seeing. To this day, the most effective kill to the two most effective kills to me that just completely caught me off guard was the bus hitting hitting Terry, and Billy getting his head cut off.
Yep.
Oh God. Chills.
There's a lot. Like, legitimately, watching all 5 of these films and the reboot we're not going to talk about, you're going to develop a phobia for one of the things that kills a person.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
If it's not a phobia, then you're going to be cautious.
Yeah. Not much caused that for me with the first film, although it did make me a little weary of buses. Yeah, a little more weary of water dripping in my bathroom.
For me personally, the second movie still has one of the most, like, horrifying death scenes.
Mm-hmm.
It was just because it's a bit too real. If you get my meaning.
Yeah. That's... Let me guess. The elevator?
Oh, well, no, that one's number 3. Number 1 is the highway.
Oh, the pile-up. Yeah, we'll get to that in just a minute. So, number 1, the first Final Destination really set the groundwork for this type of thing. Even Ebert gave this. He gave this. I can't remember what the star rating it was he gave, but he gave it thumbs up. He loved this movie.
Which, well, depending on how most people view Roger Ebert, that may get differing results, but yeah.
Well, keep in mind, this is a man who really doesn't like horror.
Yeah.
He sees it as, like, the lowest common denominator type film.
I'd say Adam Sandler films are like that, but...
Yeah, I'd say, like, that type of humor is, but he sees it as below him half the time.
Yeah, and that's a bit of a problem with most critics, but yeah. Final Destination. It is surprising that he did like it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he did. He liked it. He thought it was he thought it was a good original concept. And he did also right away recognize, he said, no doubt it's going to create a franchise that's just going to get kind of dumber and dumber.
Well, eventually every franchise kind of plays out everything it needs to.
Yeah. Now, the Dumber and Dumber, I don't know if I would say that. I'd say that's all perspective.
Personally, in my opinion, I feel like with each film, they basically distilled it down to what they wanted to do and what the audience was expecting.
Yeah.
Because it's basically just, as each film goes on, it gets really quick, and it gets quicker and quicker into the killing.
Oh, yeah, like, right, jumping into it, yeah.
It's like, no, you know what you're here for. Here's the killing, and here's what's happening. Here's how we're reacting, and here's some extra stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, because the first movie takes place, like, it's, like, all of the following accidents, they don't happen until what's supposed to have been almost a month, like, over a month later.
Yeah. And also, do not take my words as a discredit towards the film of it being more like to the point. Just because the movies are, quite frankly, a bit dumb, that does not mean that they are not made smart.
Oh, yeah, no.
Because the writers know what they're doing. They just know what you want, and they just get right to it. That doesn't mean that they don't add anything and they don't give characters, time to flesh out. Almost every single character in each movie, you can pretty much remember them at least by one feature.
Yeah. And for the most part, you don't have too many of those people where it's like, yeah, I just want to see them all die.
I can name maybe 2.
I can name more in the third one, actually, than I can... No, actually. 3 and 4 are split for me.
A little bit.
Because even some of the people where I'm like, yeah, no, they were douchebags, or they were idiots, but I didn't want to see them, get their comeuppance like that.
Well, I think it's also important to know that these people are supposed to be playing teenagers. They're supposed to be portraying teenagers, and teenagers are kind of inherently assholes.
Yeah.
It doesn't make them bad. It's just teenagers, by definition, aren't fully developed yet.
True. So, wrapping up the first film, yeah, it's just an accident. A plane wreck happens. A plane wreck happens.
Flight 108.
Flight 180. Yeah, Flight 180 crashes, blows up. And right before that happens, our main protagonist of the film, Alex Browning, has a premonition of this happening. Freaks the fuck out, gets off the plane, and 5 fellow students and a teacher follow.
Right.
Then the accident happens.
And the plane literally just explodes.
Mm-hmm. And then later down the road, like how this one does it, about a month later, if not a little longer, suddenly...
I think it was 2 months.
I think it was about 2 months, yeah. Suddenly, the survivors start dying mysteriously in these mysterious accidents. The first one is ruled as a suicide. The next one is just a bus hits the fuck out of this girl.
Oh yeah, just out of nowhere.
Yeah,
it's like I like trains kid before I like trains.
Yeah. In fact, right here, I most likely have already placed it in, but right here, I am going to be placing in the audio of her death.
Yeah.
We are not going to believe
And now
it.
she's got to move.
All
you guys are all
Enough! Both of you! They died and we lived! Get over it. I will not let this plane crash be the most important thing in my life! God! I'm moving on, Carter. And if you want to waste your life beating the shit out of Alex every time you see him, then you can just drop fucking dead.
Of that scene. Her last words. Because, wow.
It's just perfect timing.
Oh, it is. It is. It's this perfect little minute that just... Oh, my God. And I have slowed it down. I have done everything I can and cannot see the difference between her and the dummy.
It's down to the millisecond.
It really is. In fact, from what I remember of pausing it like that, she has this very split second where her mouth flies open, ready to scream, and she's already hit.
Yep, that's usually how it... I'm also reminded of a Gabriel Iglesias clip. Okay. Where, what was it? He was comparing Hawaiian buses to England buses.
Mm-hmm.
You get hit by an English bus. A man exploded today. Where in Hawaii, it's just you get hit and you just get told to walk it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, overall, besides the characters actually being pretty well likable in the first film, except for Carter, because douchebag, you always have to have one.
Or as Billy puts it, Carter, you dick.
Yeah, pretty much. I should say that as the series goes on, they do incorporate more CG, but when they do use practical effects, they use them really well.
Oh, yeah. See, you could tell the CG was probably a budget thing.
Yeah.
You'd actually be surprised how more expensive it is to do practicals.
Even in the third film, or the fourth film, when it was the main gimmick of the movie, it wasn't really...
Fourth.
Yeah, it wasn't really forced or wasn't really intrusive unless you, like, really paid attention to it.
Yeah. Yeah, there were just moments where you're like, yeah, that didn't look good. But then a practical happens, you just go, ooh. Like...
I will say this for 3D, even though it's dated quite horribly, it at least does a smart thing and throws the stuff at you and not away, like in most current movies.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
I've never understood that.
I don't get it. I think it's because a lot of films don't build the movie around 3D and just add it because.
Yeah. So,
like a good example of the 3D being used properly recently is Into the Spider-Verse. Because that's a film that was not only built around the idea of 3D, but was quite literally built in a 3D CG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's literally a scene, I believe, in the beginning or later, where everything goes blue and red, like old 3D.
Oh, nice.
It's very stylistically. Sorry, it's very stylistically beautiful, actually.
Nice.
But yeah, fully recommend the first film if you're just looking for. How long was it? About an hour and a half.
Each film is only about 90 minutes.
Yeah, you could probably marathon the first 3 films within a day, then watch the last 2 the next day.
Yeah, we ended up doing all 5, but that's because we have plenty of time on our hands.
We also had small intermissions.
Yeah, we had small intermissions. So before we move on, let's just cover a few base things. We get established, Tony Todd comes in, he gets established as the coroner, but we all know this is Death.
Yeah, of course he is.
Is Death. He knows a little too much to just be a coroner.
I believe the character is named, was it Tony Bloodworth?
Something Bloodworth.
Yeah.
But so he comes in, he meets our two of our living protagonists, gives some advice that is really chilling, and also establishes something that, by all 5 of these films, this rule is established, even though we hear, it's like, oh, well, there is a way to survive. He does point out from the beginning and says, there are 3 things you need to know with death. There are no accidents. There are no coincidences. And there's no escapes.
Or to put it simply, death doesn't like to be cheated.
Death doesn't like to be cheated. And yeah, he does. He says it in the second one too. He says, death does not like to be cheated.
Although, as the movies go on, you kind of get the feeling of Death is doing it just because Death is bored.
Yeah. Yeah, you get the feeling as it gets going that it's like, Death is cheating itself because it's bored.
It needs some fun.
Yeah. So then you get to our ending, which originally this wasn't meant to be a franchise. Like a handful of horror films that I know of that became big franchises, this originally had a happy ending.
Right.
Throughout the film, one thing that got cut was mentions of one of the other protagonists, the secondary protagonist, Claire, being pregnant with the main character's kid as it gets going. You see the relationship subtly happen, but yeah, he knocked her up. In the original ending, he dies saving her. And she has the kid. Carter's alive. They're watching over the kid. And There's this kind of moment where she feels a wind go through, but it's not ominous. She's like, oh, it's just Alex. He's just checking in. And it's like, okay, cool. End of the film. Did not go well with test audiences.
Mainly because they did not like the idea of Carter living.
No, they really didn't. So we get our remade ending, and it cuts to 6 months. 6 months later from all the events. They're finally in Paris. I forgot to mention that this was a flight to Paris. This whole thing was about started around a French class going to Paris. So they go, they talk, and enjoy a drink, and then realize something's not right. When he saved her and didn't die, it had to have skipped. So nobody intervened with him. He intervened. So what does that mean? Means his ass is still on the chopping block. And we have our ending where Carter dies.
Yep.
Carter interferes and gets whacked.
With a giant 50-ton sign.
A 50-ton sign with the words Miro 81 on it. 180.
Yep.
End of the first film.
Is that guy drinking beer? Wow.
Kimberly, look at me.
Oh my god.
What did you see?
There's gonna be a huge accident. Everybody's gonna die.
Being alive after we were supposed to die, it caused a rift in Death's design.
Which means death could be coming for us.
I have this really bad feeling. It's not over yet.
Then we get into the second one, and yeah, we have this came out 3 years later, and you can tell.
One thing,
it's
they got
much
better
more
equipment.
They got better equipment. This is a much more brutal film.
Yeah, like, the first film kind of felt a bit Rube Goldberg-y.
Yeah.
Whereas this film is more of like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
That screw came undone.
Yeah. Oh no. That magnet fell into the noodles. Oh shit. Oh fuck. A fucking glass pane falls on a kid.
And Goomba stomps him.
Yes, Goomba stomps him. This is a much more, this is a much darker world. And this has to deal with a pileup. This was I will say this. One of the things that this film made sure of, 2 did a lot of this to me. The death of the mother character, the third victim, who loses her head in the malfunctioning elevator, had made damn sure that if I see an elevator malfunctioning in the slightest, I get the fuck away from it.
Oh yeah, wasn't there a story of a director who walked out of the theater with some teenage girls, and he was
a couple of teenagers had gone in to watch it, and he was watching the showing, and as they left, they went to an elevator They had the choice between stairs and an elevator, and they watched the elevator, and they watched as it slowly started to open, and then it started to close again. And then it jerked back open, and it did that like 2 more times, and they just looked at each other and immediately said, "Fuck that!" And they ran.
Yeah.
And the director was there to witness this, and he just started laughing.
It's effective.
The film works, kid. It works because they're scared shitless.
Yep. Legitimately, the pile-up scene in the beginning is possibly one of the most realistic car crashes I've seen in a film.
Oh, very much so. That's another thing. It made damn certain that anytime... I don't drive behind semi-trucks. Just
No.
so everybody knows. I do not drive behind semi-trucks, and I do my damnedest not to be behind any kind of equipment truck.
Oh, yeah, especially fucking lumber.
Yeah, even if it's just somebody with their... just driving a truck, like just a regular old pickup truck, and they got shit tied to the back, if it remotely looks like it's hanging out of there, I don't get behind them.
Or if you do, you stay far the fuck back.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I actually experienced what happened. I didn't experience the accident in this film, but I experienced being behind a lumber truck like that.
It's not fun.
I saw those chains, and I'm like, nope. And I went, and I took the turn off, and I took the regular road. I said, fuck this. I slowed down, and I drove home.
Yeah, it's that feeling you get of avoiding a situation that could possibly go wrong. It's like, oh, fucking thank you.
Yeah, so much relief. Yeah, so this one also is kind of a tie-up. It ties up, as they even point out, all of our protagonists in this film had some connection to the last cast.
You don't want to hear something crazy. It's not the first time I cheated death. Kid came to school with a knife, killed his teacher. Teacher would have been me if I was transferred to another school 2 days before.
It's fucking weird, man.
You want weird? Last year, my partner and I were heading out when a call came in about a train wreck. Frank decided to let me handle it alone. He died that night in a shootout. If that call had come in just 10 seconds later, I'd be dead too.
Oh my God. I'm sorry. I got one too. It's like, okay, so last May, I'm supposed to go and stay at this cheesy little bed and breakfast in Pennsylvania, right? So anyhow, there's this major gas leak that no one knows about, and all the guests suffocated during the night.
So what happened?
I don't know. I never made it. The bus I was on splattered some girl all over the road.
Was that not Abraham?
Yes. How did you know?
That bus you were on killed Terry Chaney. She was supposed to die on Flight 180.
Hey, do you guys remember that theater in Paris that collapsed last year and killed everybody inside? Well, I had tickets to go. But one night, I'm in Paris and I'm just tripping on acid and sipping lattes and such, and then all of a sudden, this dude out of nowhere just gets whacked by this falling sign.
Carter.
Wait. The teacher I replaced. Her name was Val Luton. She was from Mount Abram. She died in an explosion.
Shit. The call about the train wreck that saved my life. That was the night I scraped up Billy Hitchcock.
Wait a minute. Who are these people?
People who got it for Flight 180.
They were my friends. Kimberly, tell us what happened.
About a year ago, my mom and I were at the mall. I was supposed to meet her outside, but I got caught up watching this news report about some kid that committed suicide. I kept thinking, how can you strangle yourself in the bathtub? That's stupid. It felt wrong, and yet I heard some gunshots, and I ran outside. Some kids were trying to steal my mom's car. She tried to fight them off. She was a fighter, and they killed her. After the funeral, I kept thinking that it should have been me. I guess everyone must think that. But I guess I was right.
That's a running theme throughout all the films, in that everyone is connected by some degree.
Yeah.
It's sort of like a very fucked up game of telephone.
It really is. Yeah, they all had a connection to them, and it was all through their deaths.
Either being in proximity or by being involved in some fashion.
Yeah, and it turns out that being involved or in the proximity of it prevented their own deaths. And death is going back and tying up loose ends now.
Basically.
Even takes care of Claire, who survived the first film.
Very thoroughly, I might add.
Oh, very thoroughly. And yeah, Alex does not survive the first film. You find out once you get to the second. Spoilers, I know, but you're listening to a podcast talking about this in, like, retrospective.
I think it's worth saying that of how he went out.
He copped a brick to the face.
It seems like the most anticlimactic way, right?
It is. The guy apparently, if you take the time to pause it and like read the actual newspaper article that they made for this, it mentions that he had been in his house for months. He refused to leave because he was paranoid.
And rightfully so.
And so when him and Claire finally convinced him to come out, they're walking away from the house. And as I guess they were walking, I don't know if they say like he got far from the house.
No, they went through like an alley or something.
They went through an alley, and one of the adjacent buildings, a brick came loose, fell, and he copped it right in the face. Hit him in the nose, shot that bone that a lot of people forget exists straight up into his brain and killed him instantly.
That brings up another topic. We should point out that the death in this universe is not equal. There is no guarantee how you're going to die.
Oh, yeah. There is no.
Sometimes it's quick and painless, where it's just completely instant. Yeah. Like you just get caught in an explosion that you just instantly die from.
Mm-hmm.
Other times it's slow and you feel it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Probably the most gruesome was it in 4 or 5, the one with the bridge.
Oh, 5 was yeah. Yeah, let's
the fucking
the
tar.
Yeah, the tar. Yeah. We can go ahead and I think at this point we can go ahead and skip around, but yeah. Basically all you need to know is what connects each of these films is they know the information about the previous film is readily available to the public.
It is.
All of these things are known. They just try not to think about it, apparently.
Yeah.
Because it's just too eerie to let it go, to even think about it.
Well, death is a very scary subject.
Oh, yeah.
ones who got off that roller coaster are still gonna die. Unless we can figure out how to stop it.
I never thought I could see my own death before it happened.
So, but yeah, you have your first film, which was a plane crash. You have your second film, which was a pileup on a highway. Then you have film 3, which has two of my favorite characters, and unfortunately, they both take it pretty hard.
Yeah. Film 3 starts on a roller coaster.
It starts on a roller coaster, the Devil's Flight, because of fucking course.
Which the statue animatronic in the front is voiced by Tony Todd.
Yes, he plays the devil.
Of course he does.
Because of course. And this brings in uses photos as a way to tell who's next and how they're going to die.
Like very vague fortune telling. You're trying to interpret the meaning behind everything in the photo.
Which, fun fact, actually, I didn't get to tell you about this when we were watching the movies, but the first alternate ending is them going through. I just apparently got a notification. Okay, that aside, is the coin flip right outside when they're trying to decide who's gonna sit where. I think, the heads or tails coin flip. If you okay. So for those listening who don't know this, Final Destination 3's special feature was interesting because it was called Choose Their Fate, where they put the deleted scenes into the movie, but the way you access it is by a choice.
Sort of like
that
those,
pops up.
Sort of like those old Choose Your Own Adventure books.
Exactly. So one of them was the coin flip. And depending on which one it landed on, would decide if the film just continues like normal. Or you get the alternate ending, where after the accident, nobody gets on to the roller coaster. Or, no, not nobody. There are two main characters, and their boyfriend and girlfriend don't get on. They get off, they go running out, and then it crashes. And again, I got another notification. This is getting annoying. They get... The roller coaster crashes and everything. And then you get this little ending where it's like these title cards that give information on each character who survived. Our main protagonist, Wendy, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead. That girl is gorgeous. I love her. Her ending is that it decides, oh yeah, this is what they all went on to do. She became a fortune teller.
Yep.
Like, of course you did.
I mean, yeah, if you can predict the future.
Yeah, each one's future was interesting. I can't remember what all of them were, but they were goofy as all hell. So, yeah, if you bring up the whole fortune thing, trying to, the predictions and the pictures. And this does bring us to no death is equal. Holy crap, the first death in this movie. The first kill in this movie.
Yeah, fucking...
Those poor girls. I'm sorry. They are dipshits, but...
That doesn't mean they have to die.
No. And again, you can tell this came out in 2006 because this is a much crueler world. Again, this is even crueler than it was 3 years prior. Because if you go back and watch films from around this time, like horror films especially, they get really, like, pessimistic.
Well, it was also because it's a bit of an experimental era
Mm-hmm.
for horror. Because it's not like the 80s where there was, like big restrictions on what you could and couldn't do.
Mm-hmm.
So you had to work around that. Where now it was, the restrictions are gone, so now you can just make almost anything you want, so long as there's, no explicit sex in it.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as you know, like, oh, okay, I'm going for that R rating and I don't care. Okay, have fun, go nuts.
Pretty much.
From what I know, the death here, these two girls in particular, was a choice as kind of being pessimistic towards the audience. They knew they wrote these girls to be utterly stupid. And they knew how most people would react to these girls and be like, oh my god, just kill them already. I don't want to see them anymore. So they decided to go, okay, we'll kill them. And you're going to have to watch.
Yeah, it's like, it's taking someone's arguably pettiness and being like, oh, you wanted this? Okay, sure, here's it in full effect.
Yeah. Because, yeah, I know I've watched it with a bunch of people, and most of them were like, oh my god, I thought they were just gonna, like, just outright die, but it's like, yeah, no, they don't. They get roasted alive in tanning beds.
To this day, I still refuse to go to a tanning bed.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a slow death. It's not a quick death at all.
Hell, even the alternate cut is still brutal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The alternate cut, which is goofy, but it's still kind of brutal, which is them trying to get out of it. One manages to actually escape, and as she goes to pull the other girl out, she, the glass under her breaks. She falls in, gets electrocuted, and at the same time, that current goes through her into the other girl.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, I think I said it while we were watching, but like the cruelness kind of reminds me of that one scene from Jurassic World where it's like, she didn't fucking deserve that.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. When I watched Jurassic World, that's my reaction to that. I'm like, she really did not deserve this.
I mean, yeah, she was a bit of a forced plot thing, kind of.
Yeah.
But she wasn't annoying. She legitimately cared about the kids more than the kid's aunt did at the time.
She was doing her job. She wasn't even like... It wasn't even like she was like being mean or anything. She was just doing her job. Trying to take care of these kids and watch over them.
And to be fair, you would be kind of hard on kids in a park that is essentially filled with carnivorous animals that can eat you in one bite.
Yeah. Or
even worse, you survive the bite, then you die from the infection.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, she gets attacked by a pterodactyl, brought up over the fucking tank, and then dropped into the waiting maw of another... Like, what the fuck?
Like, it's a weird type of cruelty that gets people's attention, and at the same time, it also makes you wonder of, did the actress want that, or was that more of a, like, director thing?
Yeah, I really don't know on that one.
But regardless,
yeah. Back to the other franchise, the topic.
Don't worry, we're not getting too off track.
Yeah. So before we could just skip around a little more, a little bit more. This also, the death of these girls leads to my favorite character making a damn good point, and it's at the funeral. When the priest is saying, like, doing his eulogy and saying everything he needs to, And he says that we can at least take comfort in the fact that we are all equal in Death's eyes.
We may feel that our lives are not our own, that death controls, frames our lives, our births nothing but death begun. Yet whether it is with this tragic loss of young lives, which we have suffered much of late, or with the soft passing of the elderly in the night, we are all equal in death's eyes.
Equal? In death's eyes? All of us? How can you say that?
Shut up, McKinley.
Dude, think it through. Charlie Manson made it to 70. Osama, still kicking. Pimps, vice presidents walking around. All the atrocities they've committed, they're alive and well. These two girls who've never done shit to anybody, they don't get to make it to 18? Where's the fucking equality in that? What? I can, yeah. Fine, fine. All right. I'm fine, all right.
No, motherfucker.
No. And he goes on to rant, and he's like, equal in Death's eyes. How can you say that? This is a people, there's horrible people out there who are still alive to this day, or don't even, they get like the pettiest, like the easiest of deaths. Brings up Manson. He brings up Bin Laden. He brings up Hussein, I think.
No, he brings up he does bring up Hussein, who was still alive at the time.
Yeah, he brings up Hussein. I think he offhandedly brings up Bin Laden. He brings up he says like, yeah, just like pimps and serial killers and all this other shit. All of these people, they're alive and well. And these two girls who didn't do shit to anybody don't even get to make it to 18.
Pretty much.
Yeah. As Ian says, where's the fucking equality in that?
Like, not every death is equal.
Yeah.
And not everyone is equal after they're dead.
Yeah. And I know, time and place, he probably shouldn't have said it there, he probably shouldn't, but no, I think it needed to be stated.
Well, it's also a weird thing of, when it comes to death, we aren't as comfortable talking about it as we probably should be.
Yeah. Death is a natural part of life.
If I can go on a small tangent for a second, I think it's mainly the whole fear of hell thing.
Mm-hmm.
And you spend so much time on Earth that you want to get into heaven, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
And yeah, he even gets to experience firsthand his girlfriend not dying equal.
Yeah, no, she got killed by a nail gun.
Yeah. Flew backwards into a nail gun, and it put so many nails into her head. And you can kind of tell without the subtitles, but if you watch it with subtitles, it actually says cry, like last cry, or cries, Ian's name.
Yep.
Yeah. That was the last thing she did, was cry out for her boyfriend.
And
before she just died.
And the fucked up thing about it is that later in the series, you find out you can't kill yourself until death says you can die.
Yeah. Yeah.
You just can't. There's a character in movie 4 or 5, I believe, who tries hanging himself.
4. Yeah.
Yeah, 4. He tries hanging himself, the rope snaps. He tries taking sleeping pills, he just vomits them up. He tries shooting himself in the head, all 6 rounds are blank.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, and that was a deleted scene that we didn't get to see, because, I wasn't in the film. They do one last test, I guess, after they, after saving the girl in 4, or no, I think it's one last test that he shows is like, look, watch, And he goes into his drawer and pulls out razor blades and puts it against his wrist, and it snaps. These were freshly bought razor blades.
Yeah.
Yeah, they went that one step further in that one.
Because it wants, like, Death in the Final Destination universe is very much a sort of malevolent thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like DC's Death or Discworld or almost every other interpretation of Death, really, where Death is just a thing that happens. It's not inherently evil.
Yeah. Yeah, no, this one is pretty inherently evil. I'm sorry.
Like, sometimes it gives you quick death.
Other times you get hung in your bathtub.
Yeah, and other times you get roasted alive.
Yeah.
Why? Because it's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. It just... And yeah, Ian makes the suggestion. Again, Ian and Aaron were my two favorite characters from 3, the Goths. Ian makes the suggestion when they get met, before his girlfriend dies, when they all meet up.
Okay. Let's go with what you guys are saying. Let's just say, that Death does have a conscious plan and that it's been set into motion. Great. So, Newton's third law of motion. And, well, look, I'm just guessing that it goes for Death, too, when he's working in our world. Newton says that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So, that means that if Death has taken action, so can we. And that action we take might have an opposite reaction that thwarts Death's intent.
You're being a fucker, but go on.
Okay. What if, for example, the last in line were to make the utilitarian choice, kill themselves? Wow, that's pretty much going to ruin any plan that Death's put in motion. And even better, hey, it's going to save 5 skipped lives. Any takers? No, I didn't think so.
That if it's a chain, then theoretically it could be broken. So, what if theoretically the last in line made the choice to save everybody else and kill themselves? Which would skip over 5 lives, and they'd be safe.
Yeah.
Well, we learned by 4 you can't do that.
Because Death is super petty.
Yeah. I mean, there's that offhanded bit in 2 where, where one of the guys, after the girl loses her head in the elevator, he panics, runs into the room, runs back into the room, steals the cop's gun, puts it against his head, and says, "I choose when I die." And he goes to pull the trigger, and it just clicks. And he pulls it 5 more times, and it clicks.
Yep. Like, it doesn't happen.
And they check the gun, and it's loaded. All 6 chambers are loaded. And there's no way in hell that they're all duds. So, yeah. There's no getting out of this. You will die when you are supposed to die.
Yep. And no matter how much you struggle and how much you plan it out, Death has already planned for that.
Mm-hmm. Which brings
literally, everything you do is just to forward Death's plan.
Mm-hmm. Which brings us to 4.
Hey, how old is this place?
Got me.
We're fine. That's why they built the fence there.
We're all gonna die, all right? There's gonna be a crash.
Have you lost your mind?
You saw it before it actually happened.
We're alive, and so are a lot of other people.
I keep having these visions. I see how the next person's gonna die.
What do you mean, the next person?
Survivors in the accident.
What if we weren't meant to survive?
What's gonna happen to us?
I think we can stop it.
Look out!
The Raceway. First of all, I am surprised it took this long to have an accident-type movie take place during NASCAR or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, my God, I would fully expect that kind of shit. But this is definitely the one. Yeah, we establish, you can't just kill yourself.
You can't. Death
can't.
won't let you.
No, death will not let you. And in the end, we establish, what if everything that you've done, the stopping these people from actually dying, is really just leading you up to when you're actually supposed to die?
Yep.
And then all three of our protagonists die. Wrapping up the film.
Yep.
But this one had more of the characters you did just want to see die. Like, you had, like, the fucking racist redneck.
Yeah, the one who was flat out going to burn a cross and lynch a guy.
Yeah, flat out was gonna do that.
To which he then gets dragged by his own truck and set on fire.
Yeah.
Like, you have expected him to be, impaled to the cross while it's happening, just for irony's sake, and his skin turns black.
Yeah.
Just for irony's sake. Also, I'm reminded of a Robot Chicken clip that perfectly describes death.
Oh, yes. Death
There you go.
Yep. Death just... Yeah. He taps the woman in the hospital in the middle of, like, she's talking to her grandkid. And then the next time around, it just... he taps her again while she's in heaven.
Yeah.
That's okay. She went to super heaven.
Super heaven just sounds like a placebo. Anyway.
Yeah, she's just driving around on a motorcycle. I love super heaven!
No, it's super heaven is awesome!
Super heaven is awesome! Oh, yeah, but yeah, Death is a petty asshole.
Oh, yeah.
He's just a petty asshole who's bored. So, not too much to talk about with 4 other than we do have the most valiant attempt at saving people. Oh
Yeah.
my God, this poor bastard.
He did not deserve it.
No, he really didn't. Yeah, he goes out of his way to try to save to try and save these people. Like, the first movie, a protagonist would have these little premonitions, like these little things would like happen, and it would be giving hints that something was going to happen. But they were all out of his hands. They weren't even like a full-on vision.
Yeah.
2, we had visions that were actually, it turns out, just to save her own fucking skin. And not faulting her or anything. Like, it's not, she didn't choose that, but...
Not great.
Yeah. 3, we have the photos where Wendy is trying her best to save these people, but she just can't figure it out.
Because you can only do so much with that much vagueness.
Yeah. 4, he, like, goes into shock and sees these things. This poor bastard, but he even has his premonitions. It's like, I want to go like, dude, you okay? Do I need to get you a glass of water or something? Shit.
Like, out of all the main characters, I think 4's main character, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, is probably the one you feel
Nick.
for the most of how... Yeah, Nick is probably the most paranoid to save everyone.
Oh, yeah, right off the bat. Like, he sees the premonition of the guy, but he can't connect that it was the redneck. His girlfriend is the one who calms him down. And that's another thing I'm going to bring up. Other than Ian and Aaron as my favorite couples, I honestly have to say these two here are also my favorite couple because they actually truly do have chemistry.
Yeah.
Like, she cares. She doesn't automatically, like, wave him off as, like, oh, you're crazy because of your premonitions and shit. No, she's like, well, what did you see? Is there anything we can do? Can we help? Like, yeah, this...
That's actually a running theme throughout the movies. Even in the first film, the first friend that dies is actually the first one to actually support his friend who's having those premonitions. He's just like, no, my friend was freaking out, and I just, did what he wanted me to do so we can calm down.
Yeah. And even 2, the fucking cop helps in 2. My God. Yeah. You don't see that very often.
How often, can you say off the top of your head how many horror movies the cop actually, right off the bat, says, okay, can I help? How can I help?
Yeah, no. I mean, he saves her ass, and then he's like, he actually does research.
Like a cop should.
Yeah, when she says, I had a premonition, and he's like, that sounds familiar, wait. And he looks into it. And, yeah. And they both try to help these people, but...
It's sort of futile.
Yeah. But when you get to 4... 3, it flip-flopped. At first, the guy helps her. Like, he seems to find... He's like, oh, yeah, I found all of this information. This isn't the first time this shit's happened. And she's like, oh, you're fucking nuts. And then, once stuff starts happening, she's like, oh my God, this, and this. And he's like, are you sure? Seriously? Now you're sounding crazy.
I think there's only 2 characters who I felt were like, no, you were just being completely fucking stupid. One was the teacher from 1.
Yeah, she really caused her own death. That was just stupidity.
And the next was in 4 was it the friend who went to the movie theater with her?
Yeah, the friend who went to the movie theater, she just would not listen. And I mean, there was the guy friend too who gets his organs sucked out through his ass.
Yeah, that's not what they meant by eating ass, man.
Like, and I mean, as brutal as that is, and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't think he did. I don't know. I can't say he deserved that.
Well, I mean, he wasn't a bad guy.
He was just a douche. Like...
Yeah, and I can't blame him for his logic that he had when he found out that, no, we're going to die. He just said, fuck it, I'm going to spend as much time as I can trying to get laid.
Yeah.
I can't blame him for that.
Yeah. No, I really couldn't blame him during that. But then, like, once we see him get laid, yeah, no, we realize just how big of a douche he is.
Like, there was a scene where he was a dick to a kid, but the kid was already being a bit of a douche.
Oh, yeah, no, I did not care about the fact he was being a dick to that kid.
Like, this isn't an Eli Roth film where everyone's just fucking horrible.
No, because, again, our two protagonists, and a security guard, they're not horrible people. And in fact, one of the people who survives, we expected him to be kind of a dick when he sat down at the beginning, but it's like, oh, sorry, you can't see over my hat. That's okay. I'll go. I'll change seats. It's all good.
Yeah, what was it? And two, the not stoner, but the drug addict guy. He surprised me, and he ended up becoming one of my favorite characters because, despite being quite arguably a shitty person, he was at least genuine.
Like the last thing he does, he saves a kid from dying.
Yeah.
And then, like, the last thing he really did was hand over his keys to his apartment.
And his wallet.
And asks the main girl, asks Kimberly, go into my apartment and get rid of all of my porn, my paraphernalia, my drugs, my stash, everything.
I want my mother to at least see me in a better light when I'm gone.
As he said, anything that would break my mother's heart.
Yeah. Which,
dude.
Yeah.
Wow. Like but no, that was the most genuine thing, honestly. Like that.
It's not even, and I think the thing that's a bit amazing about it, it's not played up. It's just so matter of fact.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, because we have it, like, all throughout. Like, yeah, he has his moments where it's like, yeah, he's a stupid stoner. But then he has his genuine moments throughout where he's like, oh, shit, are we actually going to die? Like, well, fuck. Okay, what can I do to help?
Yeah, that's the thing. He's proactive in how the hell can I help with this? Or how can I try and make the situation better? Because I don't want to die. I don't want to see you die.
Yeah. He's the only one to see a proper sign and try to save someone.
Oh yeah, he saw the Hookman thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because she points out, like, Claire points out, if you see, like, anything.
If you see anything, tell us.
Yeah, if you see anything that looks suspicious, that looks like it could be, like, it's not a trick of your eyes. Trust me, it's not a trick of your eyes.
Sorry for that. But yeah, it's like, and it's even more heartbreaking because immediately after that is probably one of those brutal kills in the film.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh my god. And the way he goes, I really did not want it. I love the effects in these movies. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely adore the effects in these movies. But damn it, I did not want to see him go out like that.
Well, yeah, that's the movie's doing its job well if you don't want something bad happening to the characters. Sorry.
So, yeah.
Sorry about the intermission.
No problem.
Anyway, as we were saying.
So, yeah, these films are very effective. Like, they manage to make you care about some of these characters, despite what people will say about a lot of them. No, well, there are those ones that if you actually, genuinely give a shit, you will.
There's I should say that pretty much every horror movie is don't knock it until you actually watch it. There are plenty of horror movies that you kind of have to turn your brain off.
Mm-hmm.
But if you look a little deeper, you'll find some substance. Is it going to be, AAA budget blockbusters? No. But you'll find something that feels genuine. Like, there's a genuine message, and there's a genuine story they're trying to tell.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, also during our little intermissions, yeah, for those listening, we had a few little intermissions, but
don't worry about it. Mr. Stiff took care of it.
Yeah, during one of the ones that we had, I looked it up, and it's William Bloodworth is who Tony Todd's playing. Which actually brings me up to something before we move on to the fifth and final film. Yeah. One of the things that they did throughout these movies, they did it a lot in the first one, and a little less as they went on, but they named some of their characters after actual, like, horror writers and directors.
Yeah.
Alex Browning and Todd Wagner is a cross name.
Yeah.
Alex Wagner and Todd Browning. Todd Browning is the one who gave us Freaks, the 1930s film, I believe.
No, not 1930s.
The 40s?
Hang on.
It's black and white. I know that.
Yeah, 1932. Oh, my bad.
There we go. All right. I knew it was 30s. Yeah, I know. It's just surprising to be from that era. 'Cause that's a messed up film. But yeah, there's that. Billy Hitchcock. Of course, it's Alfred Hitchcock. A lot of them were named after that. And then you have some characters that are its last name was Carpenter.
That's a bit of a running theme in some horror movies, references to other horror movies.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Because despite how long horror movies have been around and how big the communities have become, they're still small enough to be considered niche.
Mm-hmm.
In a weird way, even with directors.
Terry Cheney, I'm not sure, but
like it's not quite as disconnected as it is with something like, say, Marvel or Lionsgate or et cetera, et cetera.
Mm.
Like, usually it's smaller companies putting out a film that just they want to make.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, Nora and Tim Carpenter, Kimberly Corman.
Schlock.
Yeah. There's a couple other ones I saw here. Louis Romero. I believe Fisher was one of them.
I think that's a cross between Herschel Gordon Lewis and John Romero.
Yeah. 4 has Nick O'Bannon.
Dan O'Bannon.
Yep. And a couple other ones. And this leads us to the 5th one.
I see that it's been quite a while since your first consultation. What made you decide to take the leap today?
A lot is going on in my life. I don't want to miss anything.
When we're done, you'll have perfect vision. Do you know what? My assistant's giving me an incomplete file. I'll be right back.
Hold on, you're leaving? Is that supposed to be happening?
You're not supposed to be here. You were supposed to die on that bridge. A lucky few survived the disaster. And then one by one, death comes for them all.
Are you saying that we can't stop this?
There's an answer for everything.
It's kill or be killed.
Nobody's safe!
Oh my god!
one made before they stopped.
So the first girl who dies, her name is Hooper. Of course it is.
Toby.
Yep. Olivia Castle, Peter Friedkin, Carson, Sam Lawton. Yeah. So this is where it all culminates. This has one of the more brutal of accidents at the beginning.
Mm-hmm. ZG is a little wonky.
It is a little wonky at times.
But it's oddly charming.
In fact, the one that I had that I actually kind of shook my head at was unfortunately a practical.
Yep.
Which is when, one of the characters, everything, he has a bunch of poles through his head. And I'm like, that doesn't look very good.
Yeah, it's mainly, when it hits, the side of the face droops down, but in a way but the way they cut it, it does not look natural at all. It's like one moment the face is there, and then the next moment it's the practical effect.
Yeah. So but this also has, one of the more brutal kills during the accident.
Yes. The bubbling tar.
The bubbling tar pouring on the guy as he's trying to pull himself back up.
Which, I don't know if you noticed it, but the small detail of when it does pour on him and he falls, the skin actually stays where he was grabbing.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, the skin came right off.
Like a glove.
Yeah.
It's, ugh. There's not many things that can make me shudder like that. It was that and the dentist scene.
Into?
Yeah.
Yeah, with the drill. Yeah.
Well, that's mainly because I have fucked up teeth and I occasionally go to the dentist.
Mm.
So I actively traumatize myself. Don't get root canals if you can't help it, kids. They're not fun. Even if they are painless, you'll remember the vibrations.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, this is a business firm that that was going on a trip, and everything went wrong. The bridge collapses. Then the guy has his premonition.
Like every disaster film ever.
Yeah. And the guy has his premonition, gets a bunch of people off, including his boss, and then the whole thing collapses. So, yeah. I would say I'm half and half with this one.
It's relatively cut and dry because it seems to be the most bare bones of the sequels, at least till the end.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll get to that ending.
We will, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely bare bones. It even had okay. Throughout all of these films, you've had very few deaths where I went, yeah, I don't buy that.
Yeah, there is one of them. There's one death in the movie that even I went, that's not how that would happen. Your body isn't made of crackers.
Yeah, no. And that's
I don't
the first.
care how white she is.
Yeah, no. And that's the first girl. She's doing gymnastics, and yeah, a screw comes loose. Yeah, it's another one of those ones where it's like, oh shit, what is it gonna be? Is it gonna be this shock here? Is it gonna be something's gonna happen with this screw that fell loose and is now on the balance beam? Holy shit! Oh, I winced throughout that because
It's not great.
Yeah. No, what happens? It all becomes everything, actually.
Yeah, it comes off a bit more comical than it should have.
It does. The way she flies off as she's, doing her little routine. I forget what those are called, or I forget what that equipment is called, but yeah, it kind of comes loose, but then the powder blows into her face, and she flips and hits the mat on her neck, which, okay.
Already, that would kill you.
That would kill you. I buy that.
But then her spine collapses.
Her spine breaks. Yeah, her back completely breaks in half.
Then
and then
her
her
legs
break, and the bone is jutting out. I don't buy that.
I think her arms were broken too.
Everything broke. She broke her everything, and I don't understand how.
Like, you know those old toys crash test dummies?
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah, and it doesn't... No, I don't buy it. I don't buy that one at all.
Like, unless she had brittle bones, that's not happening.
Yeah, and if she had brittle bones, she would not have been doing gymnastics. I don't care how courageous you would be to do that. That's called being stupid.
You could be courageous for fighting a shark, but doesn't mean you should fucking do it.
Yeah. No, so... Yeah, you already have that death where I'm like, nah. But then you come into the second death, which again is very uncomfortable. Because you're like, oh shit, what's going to cause it? And then it's what actually causes it. It does cause a chuckle. But... again, I bought that one. I bought that statue being able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a guy gets his head crushed. Boom.
Yep.
But he's also... Yeah, he's... Oh, the needles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like needles in any part of my body.
Yeah, he's getting acupuncture, and yeah, he falls off the table, and yeah, all the needles embed into him.
Yeah.
Real deep, too.
He does pull one of them out, which not a smart idea, because then you're gonna fucking bleed out.
Especially the one that he pulled.
Which was in his chest.
Yeah, like that was already way too fucking close to something that you shouldn't have been pulling it out of.
And then his head gets crushed by a Buddha statue.
Yeah.
Smiling Buddha, I should say.
Yeah. With blood on its mouth now. Yeah. Then you get to the third. Okay, so I will say this. Of the main deaths, 5 had the most uncomfortable ones.
Yeah.
I liked this girl. This character, Olivia. She wasn't a bitch. She wasn't like the previous guy. He was a dick.
Yeah.
He was a dick. I mean, didn't exactly... Nobody deserves to die these ways. Nobody really truly deserves to die. But she especially didn't deserve the fucking laser cutting through her eye like that.
Yeah, and then her hand, and then slipping out the window and just hitting a car.
Yeah. Yeah, these deaths got fucked up. And then, yeah, the jackass who... Yeah. But this brings us into something. So, the next person to die isn't on the list. Tony Todd shows up for this one and says... Which, by the way, yeah, Tony Todd was only in the first 2. Then he shows up for the 5th one by saying, yeah, I've seen this shit before. And then he finally says, well... Because they're asking, he's like, there's gotta be a way. You gotta tell, something to help us. And he's like... You guys are screwed. You're on the list. The only way to survive being on the list would be to put somebody in your place. A life for a life. A death for a death. So... You find out if you kill someone, you
get their years.
You get their years.
Which, the implication for that is very fucked up.
Yes.
Because if you wanted the max amount of years, you would kill an infant.
Yeah. But also, again, you don't know, and they make a point of that, you don't know how much time this person had.
They could die tomorrow, they could die a month from now, or they could die years from now.
Yeah. But whatever time whenever they were supposed to die...
That's what you get.
That's what you get. You get up to that point.
That's it.
That's
you can't
it.
Stack it.
Nope. So...
That also leads to the thing of, yeah, you're living, but you're also condemning your soul by doing so.
Yeah.
So, do you just take your death and possibly go to a good afterlife? Or do you fuck it up because you don't want to deal with the pain?
Yeah. That you're still going to deal with eventually anyways. Yeah. We have a character here who decides, yeah, I could do it. But I can't bring myself to kill just anyone. Hey, you were saved from the very beginning. What right do you have to have survived this? And goes after the main protagonist's girlfriend.
I think it's also implied he's still, like, pissed off that in his premonition he didn't save his girlfriend first.
Yeah. Yeah, no, he's pretty pissed off about that.
It was like, it's like heavily implied.
Yeah. I mean... But if, of course, we watched the film and we saw there was no saving her. She was dumb.
Yeah.
Oh no, the bridge is collapsing. What do I do? Oh, I'm gonna run across it to the edge that is clearly collapsing and lean on it and scream.
Yeah.
No. 5 feet away is safety. Get the hell over there.
Yep.
I'm not even joking. Literally 5 feet away was safety for a moment.
You went the wrong way, you dumbass.
Yeah. So, yeah, we have all of this. We have our showdown. Guy kills an innocent. Takes their time, we assume. Then he gets killed by our main protagonist in defense. And we assume he got that life. Cut to 2 weeks later. They're getting on a plane. This whole time, it's been brought up that it's been hinted at and talked about the fact that this main guy on this guy on the side, his dream and everything he does, he wants to work for a French restaurant. He wants to do stuff like that. He wants to run a restaurant. So they have a trip to Paris.
Yep. And wouldn't you know it, it's Flight 180.
It's Flight 180. A kid causes a ruckus. They look up, and we see stock footage.
To which the guy then figures out, oh, fuck.
Yeah. And you realize, yep, and we see the date is the year 2000.
Which, if you were paying attention, you'll notice that nobody used smartphones in the film.
Mm-hmm. Nobody uses smartphones. I don't even think... Yeah! Actually, we do briefly see the computers, and we should have realized those weren't, like, brand new computers. Those weren't, like, today's computers. I think they were like, old-school computers.
Yep.
And then we also realized, like, one of the victims, he was constantly on a cell phone, and it was the type of phone that you would get that like a businessman would have back then.
Yeah.
So,
and also,
yeah,
it's just, this is what we mean by, these movies aren't, masterpieces or, high art, but they have substance.
Mm-hmm.
They're actually thought out when done right.
Oh, yeah, and also the last person to die had killed someone previously by accident. By accident. Took their life. And turns out they had a massive aneurysm that could have popped and killed them any day.
Quote unquote, any day. To which, in the next split second, he gets crushed by flaming debris from the plane that blew up.
Yep. Apparently
and then the movie ends.
It was a turbine, apparently.
And then the movie ends, and it cuts to a compilation of pretty much every single kill in the series.
Yep. Every single kill.
And it ends with a stock footage shot of Tony Todd walking away smiling.
Yep.
Pretty much softly confirming that Tony Todd was deaf.
Yeah. So, this is by no means a masterpiece.
No. But it does wrap up the series in a nice bow.
It does. Now, a little bit of history here. After this one came out, or right before it was about to release, Tony Todd went on, I don't think it was Twitter, but he went online and he said in an interview that, because people were asking about the future of the franchise, and he said, if number 5 does better in the box office worldwide than the 4th one did, they will begin filming 6 and 7 back to back.
And that was supposed to be the finale.
Mm-hmm. From what I can tell, that was going to be the finale. Now, clearly that didn't happen. It did not do better in the box office. In fact, it did worse. Which sucks. I'm shocked that it did worse, other than maybe people having series fatigue. I don't know.
What was coming out at the time?
That is a good question.
What year did it come out?
2011.
Okay. Let me just look this up real quick. Okay, at the time, there were a couple movies. Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows, for one.
Shit.
Anything else of worth? I'm trying to see if there's anything else of worth. The Justin Bieber movie.
Yeah.
Which has a 1.6 rating on IMDb.
It's higher than I expected.
I Am Number 4 came out.
Oh god, it did, didn't it?
Drive Angry. Which is an okay film.
Yeah.
The Adjustment Bureau, which is a great fucking movie.
Yeah.
So, also Rango. A lot of movies came out at the time that kind of grabbed other people's attention.
Yeah. And if I recall correctly, this was, again, another one of those... We get these, every, 2 or 3 years now, where there's just this period of time where everybody decides to bash horror.
Yeah, for one reason or another.
It's corrupting our youth. Shut up.
No, it's not. What's corrupting our youth is you being manipulative of the content they view.
Now, I do remember that apparently the poster for the movie which I believe was ended up being the movie case here for the U.S. It was the skull with the the metal barbs going through it.
Yeah.
Was considered in some country. A bunch of parents got upset about it because their little ones saw the poster and are having nightmares.
First of all, good. Your kids should be feeling fear.
Yeah.
Fear is a natural feeling. And it's important to teach your kids how to cope and deal with fear.
Yeah.
And second, the Marvel MCU was also starting out.
Yeah.
Thor came out in 2011.
Ah, there you go. But yeah, so I think, that would have part to do with its lack of box office because it had lack of advertising in certain countries then.
Yeah, like Kung Fu Panda came out in 2011, X-Men First Class, Super 8.
Yeah, it had too much to go against. It wasn't going to make it. But...
Yeah. Like, for God's sake, fucking Transformers did better than it.
Yeah. That hurts. But...
It does.
So, yeah, but I think this is perfectly wrapped up with 5. I think that is the perfect way to wrap up these films. There is an extra music video that was made by Miles Fisher, the guy who actually was an actor in this, and he got a bunch of the other actors to do stuff with him for this. He was a YouTuber at the time, I think.
Fully recommend it.
Oh yeah, New Romance. It's a hilarious little video and a throwback to making fun of Saved by the Bell and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's Saved by the Bell with a bit of Final Destination in it.
Yeah, highly recommend checking it out. So let's go ahead and briefly talk about this. You brought to my attention that they apparently plan to make a reboot.
I'm not sure about plan, but they did announce possible planning.
This sounds like, from what I read up, it was recent, and what they want to do is a quote-unquote reimagining, which I think means make it as generic as possible.
Now, I'll give it the benefit of the doubt and say it could be good if they do it right.
Yeah.
But I don't know if they'd be competent enough to do it.
Yeah, the people I'm seeing attached to this, I don't have high hopes.
I am seeing a couple articles saying that Tony Todd does want to be a part of it. So
I will
that
watch
either
for that.
Goes well.
that could bode well.
I've heard a couple possibilities of what they could do from a couple of our friends, where it's like, what if this one is more all the deaths are actually coincidences and it's just a guy dealing with grief and survivor's guilt.
Okay. Yeah.
I could go with that.
Yeah, I could go with that.
Because it's a good message and it's a nice spin on something.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Personally, I hope that if they do it and it's good, great. If they do it and it sucks, I'm just gonna go back to wishing that they hadn't messed with one of my favorite franchises.
Yeah, I think my biggest fear is that it just turns out to be meh.
Yeah, that would be the biggest one.
Because it's one thing for something to be good or bad. It's something entirely different for it to be just so average you can't even talk about it.
Yeah. So the only other thing I could bring up before we wrap this up and I'd say talk about our favorite deaths, is the fact that there are a handful of books made based on Final Destination. Some of I think one or two of them are okay, and one is just complete garbage. From what I know, there's one about a girl who was like a model or something, and then she survived a shipwreck happening, just this, like a party boat or something, or like I don't know. Sounds it gets wrecked. A bunch of people die. She survives, but she's horribly disfigured from it. And they actually bring death in as a fucking entity.
I believe that's the novel Looks Could Kill.
Yeah. She makes a deal with death because that's like, if you kill these people for me, I will slowly return your beauty.
Now,
and she does.
That reminds me of a much better film that, honestly, you should all watch, which is Starry Eyes.
Yeah, I still need to check that one out.
Which, although that has a much better metaphor, because instead of regaining your beauty and becoming more inwardly ugly like the novel seems to be implying, Starry Eyes is more of an analogy for making it in Hollywood.
Yeah. Then there's the 2 comics. I have read these comics. I haven't read the books. Quite frankly, from what I can tell, I don't even think they'd be worth my money. Neither are these comics, but that's why I have scans.
Maybe... Probably get them on Amazon for like $2 on Kindle.
Maybe. We'll see.
I'm not sure if it's worth it.
These comics, though... The first one is perfectly fine, and apparently came with a special edition of, I believe it was 2 or 3. There were too many special editions of 3. Yeah, there was an exclusive one. I think it was Target exclusive that came with the comic.
There were so many. There was so much promotion for Final Destination 3. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
They really played on the roller coaster opening scene.
Oh, yeah, they did.
Considering it doesn't last that long.
Yeah. It's okay. I'd recommend it. I don't recall the title of it. Yeah.
This is why we have Google searches.
Novels, comic books. The first Foundation comic book, titled Sacrifice, was published by Zenescope Entertainment, which I do recommend checking out some comics from Zenescope. It came packaged with a limited edition DVD of Final Destination 3 sold exclusively at Circuit City. That's why I could never find it.
Yeah, because Circuit City's dead.
Yeah. The premise of the story involves the survivor of a terrible accident and his friend Jim, who continuously experience images of other people's deaths, isolating himself from the rest of the world to escape the visions that torment him. Then we get into the other Zenescope comic, and it was the only Zenescope comic, or the only other Zenescope comic for Final Destination, anyways. The 5-issue miniseries Final Destination Spring Break involves a group led by Carly Hagen being stalked by death after surviving a hotel fire and becoming stranded in Cancun, Mexico. And it was released as trade paperback, collected with a copy of Sacrifice as bonus. I recommend checking this comic out just to see just the weird fucking direction that this could have gone. But that's it, because this comic is garbage.
Yeah.
I have read all of it, and it is terrible. It has an ending that goes full-on supernatural, and there's no explanation behind it. You're just left to assume that the girl was spirited away.
Just gone.
Gone. Yeah. Just gone.
Going to hang out in Tony Todd's pad.
Yeah. Oh, God. But, so wrapping this up. Favorite kills. Favorite deaths. I don't even want to call them kills because it's not like a slasher film.
Number one for me has to be probably the tar one because just how effective it is. It's one of the few that legitimately makes my skin shiver.
True. Yeah.
And again, the extra detail of the skin just melting off.
Yeah. Yeah, as he's like trying to keep his grip, it's like, yeah, it's sliding off and oh.
That would be okay. That'll be number one. Number two is definitely the glass pane death.
Mm-hmm.
And number three would have to be I'm trying to think. I want to say the second to final kill in 5.
Okay. Second to final. On the plane? Oh, okay. So yeah, the second to final kill would have been him being caught in the explosion.
Yep.
Yeah. And just him screaming in agony as he's incinerated. And it's not even just agony, it's also pure frustration because he realizes he's fucked.
Yeah, it's just God fucking damn it.
Yeah.
I nearly got away.
Yep. There are no escapes. Okay, going with 3, I have to say, of favorite kills, my number 1 is still just the one that was the most effective to me, or it left the most impact, and that is it's Terry getting hit. It's Terry getting hit by the bus in 2, or in 1.
Yeah,
not 2.
Because I think that's what that firmly established the oh shit factor in the movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it did. You're like, okay, so I guess death is hunting him down. Okay, so you fully expected something elaborate each time.
No, it's not. Sometimes it's just
abrupt.
Yeah, by turn.
Yeah, it's just abrupt and no stopping it. Yeah. So there's that one. My second one would have to be
I'm reminded of a Billy and Mandy clip where Grim was talking to Billy and Mandy. He said, if I was going to kill you, I'd use something bigger, like a truck. And then he gets hit by a truck.
Yeah, I remember that. Second favorite would have to be I gotta go with the actually no, I have to go with the ending to 2 where the kid explodes.
Yeah.
Because it was just great, and then just that last little dark like ha moment of his mom screaming his name, and then his roasted arm lands on her plate.
Yep.
That was great. Third, since I'm just going with my top 3, third would have to be that's kind of a tough one. Not the fourth movie. You know what? I have to go. I think I might have to go with the Tar one Tar one would be a runner-up, but for
fourth.
Yeah, that'd be technically a fourth, but my true number 3 has to be just the laser thing because that's just so fucking effective.
Yep.
She's getting for those who don't know, because I don't think we actually went into details. She's getting laser eye surgery.
LASIK. She's
getting LASIK because she doesn't like her glasses. And first of all, the guy giving it to her, fuck you.
Leaves the room.
Yeah, fuck you for that. You do not leave. No, No, he sets it all up, and he's like, oh, wait, sorry, my assistant gave me an unfinished folder. I have to go get the information from her. I'll be right back. It's like, no, you have her strapped in and a laser over her eye. Get your ass back here. Or at least undo everything and let me sit in comfort while I wait.
You know, because you're a doctor, you're supposed to help people and make sure they're comfortable.
Yeah. And then, yeah, it gets... Several things happen. There's this power surge, which causes it to overheat, and you get, like, the maximum setting of laser.
I feel like that'd be a bit hard to do now, considering how many safety precautions there are.
Yeah.
Like, oh, we got surge protectors.
Yeah, so we see it go right across her eye, and then she puts her hand in the way to try and stop it, and that gets cut up, and then it hit her eye again, I think.
No, it hit her face.
Yeah, it hit her face. It hit her face, like, around the eye.
Yeah.
And it, like, completely just wrecked that.
And you know it's effective because, you want to know why?
Why?
They reused a similar concept in Dead Space.
Yes, they did.
But it's even worse because it's not a laser, it's a fucking needle.
Yep. Oh, God.
That you physically have to make sure it goes into the fucking pupil.
Yeah. If you do it right, if you do it wrong, you get a fucking needle in your eye.
And then it goes all the way into your skull for some reason.
If you do it right, you still get a fucking needle in your eye.
But at least, gets out quicker.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
but yeah.
Final thoughts on this franchise.
I think it's pretty damn good. It's one of those movie franchises that no matter which one you put on, you can pretty much put it on in the background and just have it as something to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's be honest, it's not a high investment watch, but it does reward you for actually paying attention and staying with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it truly does. I've gone back and caught so many things. Like, I was catching things while I was sitting here. Like,
if I had one complaint or one criticism,
mm-hmm.
or one request, I believe, I kind of wanted to see him use, like, animals and more, not just everyday objects, but, like, animals and stuff and creatures. Like,
mm-hmm.
What if they went to the zoo and he ended up falling into a bear pit or whatever?
Yeah. Yeah, that would have worked, I guess. It just...
But I do get that the whole point of the series, especially the first one, is showing, like, this Rube Goldberg machine of death of all these small coincidences that just pile on into this tragic, holy shit, how the fuck did this happen?
Exactly, yeah. It was just like an everyday, it's like, oh, I just did this everyday task in my house. Now I'm dead. How did that happen? Because death is crazy.
Death is a bit of an asshole.
Yeah. So, yeah, my final thoughts, definitely check this series out. It's worth your time. It's only 5 films. They're only 90 minutes apiece. None of them overstay their welcome.
They're good fun to watch with friends, and they're great if you're just looking for something stupid and fun to watch, especially if you're drunk.
Oh, yeah.
Don't do it while you're high. You might actually get paranoid.
Yeah.
You would legit start thinking death is after you.
So that's it for this. This was definitely a long special. Even cutting out the intermissions and stuff, I'm still going to be bordering on to 2 hours. But that's okay. So, I mean, we were talking about 5 different movies.
Yep.
So, wrap it up. Thank you, Kaz, for coming out for this.
My pleasure.
And would you like to give your social medias or whatever?
I am a nobody. Just I am on Twitter, at CasualUndead.
Okay.
I tend to post horny shit.
Well, all right then.
That's about it.
You can find me here on YouTube at Wolfsden Productions. You can find me on Twitch, Wolfsden5, where we do our streams. At least I'll do gaming streams occasionally, but at least once a month we do a weekend stream for the show, where I'm usually with Roy or Doc, or both.
I may end up doing something similar, considering I have a new computer and I can actually possibly stream and record.
There you go.
So if we do, we will probably end up doing compilation, collabs, etc.
Oh yeah, I'm always open for that. You can also find this podcast. You can find other podcasts, Anna Monday, Twisted Notes, and you can find you can see me trying a bunch of stuff and trying not to, have the food actually kill me. If you watch this on YouTube. And we are also on Patreon. Sorry, I've been a long day. We're also on Patreon, and if you donate $1 to the tip jar a month, you will be able to get this podcast, all the other podcasts, all the other shows, and maybe even some exclusive videos at least a week in advance. So
if we reach $100, Ookami will have to sing the entire alphabet with an entire spoonful of peanut butter in his mouth.
Oh dear God, I'd actually be willing to do that.
And not smooth peanut butter.
Oh no.
Extra chunky.
Oh God. Until next time, everyone. You want to join me for a wolf howl, as I usually do with the outro?
I think the thunder outside is doing it for me. Jesus Christ.
Good night.